I think my boyfriend got a happy ending last night. He looked me in the eyes and said, "You know everything." Then he broke down. This man, the one I had been building a whole future with, the one who told me he was my safe space, completely fell apart right in front of me. And I just sat there, not even angry, staring at someone I loved who had just blown it all up. But let me take you back to where this started, because none of this hit me all at once. We had been together for just over a year. A real relationship, the kind where you're talking about moving in together, meeting each other's families, building something. He had never moved in with a partner before. He was the one pushing for it, excited about it, bringing it up. That meant something to me. That felt like weight, like he was serious. We had trips together, inside jokes, routines. We had a life that was starting to look like a future. I'll be honest, though. The past week had been hard. Something had come up between us, nothing I'm going to get into fully, but it created tension. He had been short with me, snapping or pulling back and then apologizing the next day. I gave him grace on it. Relationships go through stretches like that. I didn't want to make it bigger than it needed to be. I cared about him. I trusted him. I also need to give you a little background on him because it matters. He had cheated on a previous partner, not a full physical affair, a kiss, texting someone. But when we got together and that came up, there was also a moment where I found out he had lied to me about some of the details of what happened. He eventually came clean. I worked through it. I made the decision to trust him anyway, partly because I believe people can grow, and partly because of how he showed up for me otherwise. He told me he was safe. He told me he would never risk losing me. I held on to that. So on this particular evening, he was FaceTiming me after work. He seemed down, low energy, kind of flat. He told me he was going to go get a massage. That wasn't unusual. He goes to massage places regularly, legitimate ones. I'd been with him before to some of them. It was just part of how he dealt with stress. I didn't think twice about it. I told him that was fine, and we got off the call. He called me back a while later saying he was done. And I wasn't looking for anything, I wasn't suspicious, I was just kind of half paying attention. But something nagged at me without me even fully registering it at first. The timing was off. The place he said he went to was 30 minutes from where he was. He said he went as a walk-in and had an hour-long massage. When I added that up, the total time he was gone didn't come close to covering that. It was maybe 45 minutes total, door to door. That math doesn't work. I looked up the place he named. Don't take walk-ins. I felt something shift in my chest, but I pushed it down. I didn't want to spiral. I had been in a stressful week already, and I didn't want to turn into someone who interrogates every small thing. So I let it go, at least for the moment. Then later he was showing me something on Google Maps, and I saw his recent searches. There was another massage place in there. One I didn't recognize. A place that was 10 minutes from his work, not 30. I looked it up. The reviews. I sat there reading them and my stomach just dropped. The way people wrote about it, the language they used, the way they described what happened there. It was not a legitimate massage place. It was a place where men go to pay for a hand job. I still didn't say anything. I needed to sit with it. I needed to be sure I wasn't jumping to a conclusion I couldn't take back. I went to bed with it sitting in my chest like a stone. The next morning he left for work and something still felt wrong, still felt stuck in me. I went to put my pajamas in the hamper and I saw his briefs from the day before tucked away in there. I picked them up. There was a cum stain on the crotch. I want to be clear about something, because I know how this might sound to someone on the outside. I know his body. I know that he does not pre-ejaculate, He is uncircumcised. The stain was not from me. We had not been together that day. Actually, let me say that again because it matters. I had wanted to be with him that day, and he told me he was too tired. He came home too tired for me, and those shorts were sitting in the hamper. I went and looked at the shorts he had been wearing when he came back the night before. There was more there, too. I sat on the floor for a minute. I think I just needed to breathe, because the picture was completely clear at that point. The timing that didn't add up. The place that doesn't take walk-ins. The other massage parlor in his recent searches, 10 minutes from work, with those reviews. The stains. All of it pointing in one direction. He was coming home in a few hours. I had a decision to make about how I was going to handle this. I didn't want to blow up. I didn't want to come at him swinging accusations before I gave him the chance to be honest on his own. Part of me, maybe the softer part, wanted him to just tell me. Wanted him to walk in and say, "I need to tell you something." I wanted to believe that was still possible. So I decided I would give him that opening. I would sit him down, tell him I knew he hadn't been honest with me, and ask him to come clean before I laid out what I knew. I wanted to see what he would do with that chance. He came home and the energy was off right away. He was a little weird, a little stilted. I could feel him sensing something without knowing exactly what. I sat down on the bed and asked him to sit with me. I kept my voice calm. I told him, "I want to give you the chance to be honest with me about yesterday. I know you weren't honest, but before I tell you how I know, I want to give you the chance to just tell me yourself." He looked at me and said, "Why are we doing this?" Not a question, really. More like someone wishing they could step sideways into a different version of the moment. He was already getting emotional, already feeling the walls closing in. So instead of pushing, I asked him, "Do you want me to say it instead?" He said yes. So I said it. "Yesterday you lied to me. You were at a massage parlor near work getting a hand job." He said, "You know everything." And then he fell apart. He couldn't look at me. He said he regretted it immediately, the moment it was over. He said he didn't even feel like he made a conscious decision, that it happened on some kind of instinct, and he went through with it. I tried to ask him what emotion triggered it, what he was feeling, what was going on inside him before he walked in there. He couldn't answer. He just shut down. He apologized, but not in a desperate, begging way. It was quieter than that. He became very still, like a person who knows the thing they did and doesn't know what to do next. I wasn't angry. I want to say that because it surprises even me. I was not standing there furious. I was looking at someone I genuinely loved, someone I had been building something real with, and I was watching him sit in the wreckage of a decision that made no sense against everything we had. My heart was broken for both of us. For me, because of the betrayal. For him, because of the waste of it. I reminded him of what we had. Not to be cruel, not to twist the knife, just because I needed him to understand the full weight. I told him about our families knowing each other, about our trips, about the conversations we had about a future, about the way we fit together. I told him that I had wanted to be with him the day before, and he had told me he was too tired because he had already gotten off. I gave him a blowjob 3 days before that, and he still went and paid a stranger. I tried asking more specific questions for a few minutes, then I stopped myself. I recognized where that was going. It was coming from a wounded place that just wanted to keep picking at it. I already knew the facts I needed. The details beyond that weren't going to heal anything. He eventually left for the gym. That sounds strange, I know, but he had completely shut down, gone somewhere internal. And I didn't stop him. I just let him go. We would talk more when he got back, and and I sat in the apartment with this feeling I can only describe as a wall. Like some part of me had put up a barrier between the facts I knew and the full emotional reality of what they meant. I could see clearly what had happened. I could name it. I could describe it, but the deepest layer of it hadn't fully crashed through yet. The part where I understood that the man I had been ready to call my husband traded our entire future for a paid hand job 10 minutes from his office. He had told me I was his safe space. He had told me he would never risk losing me. He had a history of being dishonest with a partner before me, and I chose to trust him anyway. And he took that trust, and he made this decision on some random evening after work while I was home wanting to be close to him. I know what I found. I know what he admitted to. What I don't know yet is what comes next. Not because I'm confused about what he did. I'm not. I'm very clear. But because the version of my life I thought I was living ended in one conversation, and figuring out what the next chapter looks like takes more than a few hours. I want to say something to anyone listening who has ever found themselves in a moment like this, where the evidence is undeniable and the person you loved is sitting across from you, already knowing you know. The thing nobody tells you is how quiet it can be. You expect rage. You expect a screaming match. Sometimes it's just two people in a room, and one of them is looking at what they've destroyed, and the other one is trying to figure out how to survive it. I'm sorry for everything that led to this. I'm sorry for his past, whatever wound or pattern drove him to that parlor. I genuinely am. That doesn't make it okay, but I can hold both of those things at the same time. Right now, I just need to figure out how to breathe.